The emotional side or the worry of not coming back for your family and everybody else, that's always there for everybody. I can't fucking do this. I'm gonna do this. You know, I was a young kid going out to Northern Ireland and people were getting killed, and we hadn't, you know, unfortunately we had people killed on our tour, friends of ours. Because you know what, when you're beyond the enemy lines, you're on your own. No one else is picking you up, it's down to you. Why am I doing it? Because I can do it. Because there'll come a time in my life I won't be able to do it, so I'm gonna do it. Do I like it? No. Is it painful? Yes. As soon as I accept that, I'll go ahead and do it. Talk's cheap, innit? You know, I could have, I should have. You get a million excuses. I don't want a million excuses, I want one result.
So just for people who don't know, just introduce yourself, who you are, what you do.
Okay. My name's Mark, Billy Billingham, better known as Billy. I'm an ex-military guy. I spent over 27, actually probably about 32 years in the military. Joined in '83, left in 2015 officially. I was in the parachute regiment for 9 years. I spent the rest of the time in 22 SAS, Special Air Service. And then after that I became a head of security to a number of A-list celebrities, including Brad Pitt, Angelina Jolie. I worked with Tom Cruise, Sir Michael Caine, Kate Moss, DMX, just to name a few.
I know it's not something you would naturally do, but would you like to list like your accolades and like, you know, like MBE and all that kind of stuff?
Yeah, okay. I got the Queen's Commendation for bravery for an operation with the regiment, and a second operation when I got the MBE, which I was actually decorated at Windsor Castle for by the Queen.
Early years, like for an American audience, whereabouts did you grow up? What was it like?
I was born on a council estate in the West Midlands, Walsall, 1965, into a family of 5. Came from a very poor background. I was the middle child, and although a poor family, I was the middle child that went rogue. You know, back in the day then there was a lot of gang sort of warfare going on and people struggling for sort of authority positions, if you like, and I kind of immediately graduated towards that. And by the age of 9, I was getting into small gangs and getting into trouble, stealing, that sort of stuff. And at the age of 11, I then found myself in juvenile court for actual bodily harm, grievous bodily harm, all sorts of stuff. And in between this year of being 9 and 11, I joined a boxing club, an illegal boxing club, and an old man that I stole from took me to one side and said, listen, boxing is not about brutality, it's a poor man's game of chess. It's about anticipation, it's about thinking, it's about using your feet, using your brain. And I'll never forget those words. And the second thing he said to me was, it's about you as an individual going always a little further, because you can. And strangely enough, many, many years later, then when I joined the SAS, that is part of our prayer, always a little further, and I've kept that as my mantra since. So I learned a lot of sort of lessons along the way, although I was a rogue child. I was fortunate enough to meet influential people that put me on the track, and he was the first one outside of my father that sort of sat me down and says, this is what you need to be doing. And he's very disciplined to me, and for whatever strange reason, as bad as I was, I understood discipline and I kind of needed that control. And it was difficult for my father to do it because he was always working. He was working 12-hour shifts and Mum was doing the same. Hence the reason I went rogue and I could get away with it. 9 out of 10 times I get away with it, and I played those numbers. And everybody's heard the saying of, he got in with the wrong crowd. Well, I freely admit, and I know, and every child does know, I was the wrong crowd. You know, we always look for somebody else to blame. And again, as I've gone through my life, I realise you need to own up to what you really are and what you're doing in order to move forward. So, growing up on a council estate, I started getting in trouble. I was in trouble with the law, but the boxing kept me sort of controlled. And then eventually I met the second most influential man in my life, which was a guy who ran the cadets, the military cadets that my brother introduced me to, and it was Marine cadets. And again, he talked to me like an adult, and I needed that. If I stepped out of line, I got a slap, I got put straight. Unfortunately, in today's world, we've lost all that. We've lost that discipline, we've lost that respect. And for me, that's what kept me allowed to get me to where I am today, because I was still going rogue. So I had a Monday, Wednesday and a Friday boxing training, disciplined. Tuesday and a Thursday, I was a cadet, but I was still getting in trouble on the weekend. So
yeah, I mean, you say there that about you managed to get away with the trouble because your dad was working so hard, Describe you know when you say poor, like what's that situation like living at home?
It was poor. It was a loving family, but we didn't have anything. For instance, our food would be, my dad would make a pot of stew on the Monday, and that would be the food for the whole of the week. I used to go to school with a hole in the bottom of my shoes, and my mum would just put cardboard in there. And that's fact, and we'd walk to school. You know, it was a couple of miles. I was a kid. And I remember one situation where, you know, I was embarrassed by being in school with holes in my shoes, and I realised we went to the gym, and I didn't even have any PE kit. None of us did. You know, I wasn't the only kid, not just our family, there's a lot of families. And I remember seeing a basket full of plimsolls. And I saw some plimsolls, and then I thought, wow, they look brand new. And I also knew the caretaker every morning at 7 in the morning swept the gym and left the doors open. So I left the house before about 20 to 7 in the morning to go to school, walk to school, and I lay in the snow on the bank watching the gym. And when the caretaker opened the doors and went through to the change rooms, I ran in, stole those pumps. That's how poor we was. And I wore those trainers. And also, part of being in the cadets was I got a set of boots, and I wore those boots for school. You know, I wasn't ashamed by it, but people used to take the piss out of us and go, oh, you know, council estate kid, blah, blah, blah. But that's who we were, and everything was hand down. So my brother handed down to me, I handed down to my brother, etc. You know, it was literally the motto in our house was first up, best dressed. Literally grab what you can and that's yours. Yeah, but it was, you know, I say poor, we didn't go on holidays. Our only holidays we ever went on, we went to Rhyl and lived in a caravan for 5 days. We would all start squabbling and fighting, you know, in the rain. Never been abroad. I'd never been on an airplane in my life. First time I went on an airplane was when I joined the army, and I was getting thrown out of it with a parachute on my back. You know, so it was a tough upbringing. And like I say, there was a lot of trouble in the area. We had the riots as well, you know, the blacks and white riots in the late 70s, 80s. That was all in my area. We were a mixed community, and it was brilliant. We all got on together, but we all had our own little gangs. And then at the age of 13, I couldn't understand what I was learning at school. You know, crossing the T's, dotting the I's, all that sort of stuff didn't make any sense to me. And while I was in the cadets at the age of 11, I was being taught first aid, how to navigate, and that made sense to me. I could see how that was going to be used in my life. So I kind of, and wrongly now I know that, I disbanded school. And at the age of 13, I got expelled from school for gluing the maths teacher to the chair, thinking it was clever. And he captured me, put me in detention, and was determined I was going to do detention, and was 2 floors up. And he was in the room with me, keeping me there. And as soon as he went to the door to do something, I opened the window and jumped out into the bushes and ran off. And I don't think I went back to school again, over there to probably on a Friday to get picked for the football team for Saturday. You know, knowing that it was not right. And then at the age of 15, you know, I ended up in a fight, and I got stabbed. Yeah, and it was at the time of the skinheads, the rockers, the punks, all this sort of mixed craziness going on, and violence was getting worse, knives, drugs was getting involved. When I say drugs, it was mainly glue sniffing, which I'm happy to say I never got into, but a lot of friends did. Gangs were meeting up and slashing each other with cutthroats, and it was getting violent. And then I ended up in a fight. I got stabbed literally about 100 metres from my house. And I remember crawling back to the house. And as I was crawling, I was sort of going in and out, and it went from pain to sort of as if I was drunk. I was like floating and realising it's because the blood was leaving my body, and I was about to collapse, you know. And I remember crawling through the door, blood everywhere, and seeing my mum cleaning. She saw me and screamed. And the next thing I remember, she put this woolly jumper directly on the wound, and that woke me up again. I was like, ah! You know. I remember that moment of crawling and thinking, I'm going to die. I've got to get out of it. I have to change my lifestyle. I've got to go. Jump back a little bit. While I joined the cadets, I kind of gravitated then towards loving the military. As I said, my schooling went to the side, and I thought, this is where I need to go. I'm going to go in the military as long as I can keep a clear record. But bear in mind, I had a now criminal record, which went on wouldn't leave till I was 15. Although I got in a lot more trouble, I never really got caught. I never got another court case, even after I got stabbed. So I knew that's where I wanted to go. I wasn't sure exactly where in the military I wanted to go, but I knew the military was going to be my saving grace. And it turned out to be that a bit later on in life. Also at the age of 15, once I recovered from this, I got a job. I was working in a factory. illegal, working the night shift, and I was earning £80 cash a week, which I was giving to my mum, obviously, for the family. And I had an accident. I slipped and fell into a vat of caustic soda, burnt all the skin off my feet, ended up getting rushed to hospital in the middle of the night. And I remember going to the hospital and being told I had to say that I broke into the factory, because if I didn't, everybody else in that factory would have lost their job. They'd have closed the factory down because it was illegal. So that's what I did. The police turned up, but there was no criminal investigation or anything else. It was just me, a little scumbag who had a record anyway, broke into a factory. And it went no further, thank God. And it took a while for me to recover. And in between this period, I applied to join the military as a young soldier. And two things. One, I couldn't go in because of the injuries. So I couldn't join at 16 until these injuries were cleared up. Secondly, they found out I had a broken femur from when I was a kid. I didn't declare that, so that had to be checked. And the other reason was I was just over 8 stone because of boxing at this weight for years. And they said I had to be 10 stone. So I stopped training. I was eating, drinking as best I could, going back and forth to the military careers office, waiting to get in. And I eventually joined just after 17, and when I joined the parachute regiment. And that's when my whole life changed then. You know, I realised I'd done the right thing. I knew this is where I needed to be, and I was now looking at real men, not little troublemakers from where I was that I thought was a big fish and I wasn't. These were real men, been to war just after the Falklands, respected, and I remember looking and thinking, that's who I want to be. I want to be remembered and respected for something good like these people. And that was my, I've got to do this moment.
Yeah, that's one thing I wanted to ask you about, is that initial moment, because you've described it a few times. I've seen in previous interviews about when you got there, it was like these real men. Like, so what was that moment like? How did that change your sort of outlook and mindset?
You know, as a young kid, I think I was, I don't want to call it fearless, I'd actually call it stupid. Nothing bothered me. You know, getting into a fight didn't bother me, nothing. I wasn't scared of anything or anybody. I'd fight people twice my age, 3 times my age, no problem. But then I realised now I'm stepping into a real man's world. This is an old nonsense bullshit world. And that happened immediately. And I remember standing on the square with 70 other recruits, and I was one of the youngest, and definitely the skinniest, or one of the skinniest. There's 2 of us that are quite skinny. And I remember looking down the line, and it was blokes with big chests, hairy chests, tattoos, moustache, you know, and I was like, wow. And I was a skinny little kid thinking, I'm out my depth. There's no way I'm going to be able to compete with these people. And that was in my mindset, and I was already starting to, you know, mentally lose it and thinking, I ain't going to do it. Then I just thought, I'm here. I'm not going back to that lifestyle. I've got to make this work. And as the weeks went by, the numbers got fewer, and I was still there. And every day I looked down the line and more people went, these big guys were going, it gave me strength, and it gave me belief. I thought, I can't fucking do this. I'm going to do this. And I started to not get cocky, I got confident and believed in myself. And every day was difficult, every day was different and hard, but I just thought, I can do this. And it went on and went on and went on, and the numbers got fewer and fewer and fewer, and I was still there. And it was hard, you know, and every day I felt like throwing my hand in, but the thing that stopped me doing it was going back to the lifestyle and the way I was. I couldn't do it. There was only one way I was going to go back to that, is if they said to me, you have failed, you're out. Until they tell me that, I'm going to keep going. And it was hard work. And at the end of it, there was 7 of us originals left, and I was the champion recruit. I was actually the best recruit for that troop. They were all great guys, don't get me wrong, but I just shone a little bit more than, and I think, to be fair, I had an advantage having been in cadets. I knew some of the basic skills, so that helped me along the way. But on the physical side of it, it was hard. It was really hard. I was up against big, hard people.
What is that, to describe the training? What's it like? The test at the start. How's that going through that?
It was difficult, you know, running with boots, running with weights, being in the gym for 40, 50 minutes of non-stop, pushing myself. I'd boxed a lot, so I was used to, you know, cardio work, but this was relentless. It was non-stop. There was no breaks, no breaks. You've been screamed at, shouted at, and you're being pushed really through your limits. And obviously the reasons for it are needed. It has to be done, and that's what they did. And yeah, I struggled with it. It was really tough. And then the sort of endurance stuff was something I wasn't really used to. You know, where in civilianisation do you run around the mountains with a house on your back? You don't. And it was building me up for the right reasons to, you know, get ready for potentially joining the battalion and going to war should it happen. And that was what it was all about. So that was difficult, getting used to that. But, you know, I embraced it. I kind of enjoyed it. Every time I did it, I felt like I'd achieved something. And, you know, I've been so used in my school career eating one word, fail. Every exam, fail, fail. When I did P Company as a young 17-year-old kid, it was the first time I'd really had the word Billingham, pass. And it was like, wow, I've just won the lottery. And I'm looking around the room of 40 of us that have attempted these tests, and I was one of 11 that got passed. And I thought, wow, this is amazing. And I really started believing in myself then. I thought, right, I can do this. And it just, so though going through it was hard, and every day, every run, although I was fit, I was saying to myself, I was kind of, the little angel was saying, throw the towel in and give up. The devil was going, run through the trees, just keep going, you know, and the devil drove me forward on this one, got me through to where I needed to be.
So what was that first experience like at war? Like what was your first experience?
Northern Ireland, you know, and it was, at the time, back then in the 80s, Northern Ireland was, it was bad, you know. There was stuff going on the mainland, there was stuff going on in Northern Ireland, people were getting killed, getting blown up, and the enemy, if you like, if that's what we want to call them, were not face-to-face enemy. They were cowards. It was people, you don't know who you're up against. So, you know, the odds were all stacked against you. And it was, I always used to think to myself, I know we're getting trained, I know we're going to get trained irely and it's going to be to the best we can be, but you've really got to be lucky every day. They only have to be lucky once. And I knew that, so I was always on my toes. So it was nerve-wracking. You know, I was a young kid going out to Northern Ireland and people were getting killed, and we hadn't, you know, unfortunately we had people killed on our tour, friends of ours. So it was always in the back of your mind, every day could be your last. Not to over-dramatise it, it was always there, and it had to be there. I think it was a good thing because it kept you alert, didn't get you complacent. You know, you've got to be on your toes every minute you step out of that door. Even when you're indoors, you know, there was chances of getting mortared or whatever. So without painting a dull, crazy picture, it was, you had to stay switched on. It was an intense time, you know, tour.
For anyone who's getting into the military, what is that first adaptation to war? Like, is there the same thing everyone goes through? Or?
I guess so. There's two sides to it. There's the emotional side, or the worry of not coming back for your family and everybody else. That's always there for everybody. But secondly, it's challenging. It's exciting. It's like an adrenaline. This is a chance to prove myself. This is where I've trained to supposedly produce the goods, and now I'm going to go out there and produce the goods. And whether that's stopping terrorism or stopping whatever, or doing good things, that's what you're there to do. And no one knows. I don't know how I was going to react to being shot at, being close to being bombed or whatever, until you're out there and do it. And every single military person, male and female, will tell you the same. They want to go and experience it. Anybody who says they like war and war's great, they're fucking idiots. No one likes war. No one likes conflict. You know, but that's our mainstay. That's our biggest test. You know, a Formula One driver is trained to go as fast as he can and win a race. Dangerous, and got to do it. A soldier is there. The worst case scenario is to be put in a conflict type situation, and being able to keep your head, make a clear, clarified decision, and do the right thing. And that's what I wanted to know. Can I do that? Am I capable of doing that? Am I actually capable of not just doing it, but adding something to it and making a big difference? And I will say I was fortunate too. I enjoyed it. Not the conflict, I enjoyed the decision making. I'm very much a crisis manager. I'm pretty quick on my feet, thinking up, get a decision and go. I hate planning. I hate sitting back and think. The more you think about something, the more you tie yourself in knots, the more problems you throw into it. The longer you got to plan it. What if the enemy's got this? What if that? What if that? What if the meteorite falls out the sky and lands? And fucking hell, you can go on forever. I like quick reaction, and my first time of conflict allowed me to realise actually I can think on my feet, and when the situation changes and ain't as clear as we thought it was going to be, I can make a decision. And every single person wants to know that. How will I react? And
so what was that test for you guys, like the ultimate test? Yeah. So do you get, well, I mean, we spoke about this previously, like you get drawn into taking that test again and again and again?
Yeah, because every time, no timing, any war, conflict, battle, whatever you want to call it, is the same. There's always surreal moments. There's always something different. It never, ever, I'll be honest with you, and I've done a lot of operational stuff, mainly with the regiment, but also with the parachute regiment. It's never, ever gone to plan. Never, ever. You know, it goes to plan in terms of we got the right result, but what each stage we plan for, out the window. Normally from the moment you either Step off the helicopter, step out your vehicle, parachute into the place, everything changes. Communications will always go down. It just happens. So now you've got to think on your feet. It's visual all the time, visual and verbal, keeping control of things. Oh my God, there's more than we expected. Oh my God, there's a minefield. Oh my God, there's civilians tied in the middle of this. How do we think on your feet? And every situation is different. You know, and I remember some of the bizarrest of situations in conflict. You know, in the Bosnia conflict, halfway through a horrendous sort of ground battle that was going on, is some guy washing his car like it's a Sunday afternoon. And you're like, where did that just come from? What the fuck is that about? War is strange. It's nasty and it's strange. You know, and you've got to now be able to think fast on your feet and can't just become all of aggressive and go for this. It's about changing and we live in a world of ramping up and ramping down sort of scenarios, because you know someone's out there trying to kill you. You've got to step it up to stop that. But in the middle of that, all of a sudden there's a family and bang, you've got to back off a bit and find another solution. You know, you're thinking all the time. It's a lot going on and it's challenging. And yeah, I enjoyed the challenges. I enjoyed it. You know, I didn't enjoy what the situation was, people getting killed and shit, but I enjoyed having to think and come up with a solution that's for the better.
So pre-going and coming back, like, what's the distinctive thing that you can see where a mindset has changed? Like it's changed for you or given you something different after going to war and coming back? Was there anything?
Yeah, I mean, one of the things the British military wasn't good at, I don't know if it is now, hopefully it is, was decompression. You know, you go to a war conflict and the tempo is massive, as you can imagine. The work rate is massive. There is no finish line. You don't know when this is going to end because you don't know where it's going to go. You don't really know what's going to come around the next corner and what's going to confront you next. Like I say, you plan for everything, but be prepared for the unexpected, and you always get that. So you're kind of tuned into that, you tune into that theatre, that environment, and you get on with it. And then what we used to do, you come home and you go straight back into supposedly normal life. Well, that's difficult when, you know, you may have lost people, or you may have seen this, or you may have seen that, and you've got this crazy aggressive mentality in your head, and you get home and then you haven't had time to decompress it and let it calm down and okay, put that to bed now. You're straight into supposedly another life. We binge life. We binge this craziness straight into binge normality. What normality is being at home with a family or with your friends, and we don't get the time to, you know, filter that badness or the aggressive bit out and straight into it. So you go into it, you become a little bit aggressive, a little bit, don't see what the everyday problem in civilianry is when you've just had somebody who's got no house, no family, half the family missing. That's a real problem, not the fucking washing machine's broke or the car's been stolen or the kids had a fight at school. So it's, you're like, so what? That's kind of the mood swings and difficulties of coming from a high tempo, crazy world into a supposedly normal, and then back into that again. I think now, and I hope that, you know, when people come back from conflict and these places, they get that period of decompress, talk amongst yourselves first, get it out, chest poke each other before you get home, get things out off your plate, sort yourself out, get checked out, and then go home. Because it's unfair. Because the people at home, when you're in war and conflict, they're out in war and conflict, worrying where the hell you are, what's going on, and you know, trying to keep the house together, the family together, the friends together. So that was difficult, I think, and that's why, you know, a lot of issues we're having today are happening because people haven't had a chance to decompress and get shit off the chest. And it's always, for a soldier, you know, you always think about, if only I'd have stepped to the left, that could have happened. If only I'd have done this, if only I'd done that. Or I could look at it and go, well, Jordan, that was your fault. You should have told me to do that. Or get that off your plate before you go home, because that's on your plate, and you inevitably end up taking it out of your wife, your partner, you know, your aggression, and they're like, whoa, where did that come from? So that's the difference in terms of mentally managing and mood swings and, you know.
Yeah. So for yourself, throughout your career, your military career, were some of the harder times when you got back home?
Yeah, I mean, I'll be honest, I mean, I enjoyed the tempo of what the regiment was all about and what conflict, and I loved it. And I wanted more of it. I didn't want to miss out. It's not until you get older you realise actually what you're missing out on is your proper life back home, kids growing up or doing things or whatever it might be, yeah. So I loved it, and then a lot of people do. You're almost volunteering for the next mission if you could. And I think everybody did, and yeah, so I enjoyed it while I was there. I knew it was a time frame that you could do this for, and I just wanted to get as much as I possibly could out of it. Keep going back and doing whatever it might be, and not always in conflict. Sometimes it was in, natural disaster type stuff, but helping, getting out there, doing some different situation, thinking on your feet and making a difference. That's what it was all about, and I loved it. I loved every minute of it.
So for yourself, was there a mindset of moving through to get to Special Forces and like continually bettering yourself?
Yeah, everybody should always have a goal to go forward, whatever that might be. Yeah, and it was always to do, once that job's done, it's done, that's history. Stop patting yourself on the back and telling yourself how great it was and all the rest of it. Move on. What comes next? What's the next challenge? And I've always had that mentality of, what can I do next? When's my next chance to do something decent and challenge myself?
So what for yourself, stepping into Special Forces, what was the, not allure, but like what was the pull for you?
The pull was, first I wanted to go into Special Forces, one, to prove I could do it. Like I did that young 17-year-old kid stood on the square looking at people and thinking, can I do it again? Am I capable? And I had the same feelings. Standing on the square with all these hundreds of people thinking, wow, they all look better, they all look fitter. Can I do this? So that was one reason. I wanted to challenge myself. Can I do it? Of course I did. Secondly is, I knew what they were doing was making a difference. A massive difference. Although, the Army are making a difference, this was a different level. You remember Special Forces work at Tier 1. Tier 1 is world-changing decisions. It's government level, we're not just doing this because we need to do, this is going to make a massive difference. The London bombings or releasing an hostage or whatever it is, this is going to make a massive impact on the country and possibly the world. That's Tier 1 level stuff.
So yeah, can we dive into that a little bit more, basically, like explain what it is, because I think there's a confusion around how different levels of military work, and so yeah, what is Tier 1?
So, Special Forces unit is small, so it's Tier 1 is government level operations that will change policy in terms of how the country runs, our security mainly, how on a world scale, will change X amount of people being killed, wars happening, stopping internal conflicts in other countries, which will inevitably have an effect on our country later on, whether that be because of troop deployment, because of an economy, because of global terrorism, whatever it is. So strategic level operational stuff is Tier 1. And so it's a small group of people, which is generally the SAS, Special Forces, that deal with that sort of stuff.
Is there a thing, so within Special Forces, do you have to sort of work up to doing Tier 1 stuff, or? No,
Special Forces, once you're into Special Forces, you do SAS training. There's nothing special about SAS training. That is a selective process for you to become a specialist in your next journey in the regiment. And once you get into the regiment, you're then trained to do everything from linguist to demolition to whatever it takes to get a job done. So that's where the specialist part of SAS is. And then as you progress, like anywhere else, you start at the bottom, but there's no real rank structure. Everybody's as important as each other. You all have your input, you all have your output. However, when you go through these missions, Tier 1 missions, which is, like I say, government level, the London bombings was a Tier 1 operation, for example, that is going to change because suicide bomb, how do we stop this? How do we make the country secure again? Not just the country, but, our Ireland, everywhere else that's with us and support us. How do we stop this? That's a Tier 1 operation. In order to lead that, it's led from the top. Nobody below, really it's run from the commanding officer of the regiment. He runs the Tier 1, passed down to the OC, which is the gang that are going to do it, and then the groundwork is the Sergeant Major, which is what I was. They're the only people who lead Tier 1 missions, nobody below that. People below that, sergeants, staff sergeants, they lead parts of that mission to achieve that aim. But the lead is really from the top and stops really at the Sergeant Major level. So you build your way up to that.
So once you'd started doing or finished doing the Tier 1 stuff, Had you ran your course with a career in the military? Was there anything else for you to achieve after that?
You always feel you want more, you know, and I was very fortunate. You know, unfortunately the world was at frigging war since I joined the regiment in the 90s. You know, we had all the Balkans, we had stuff in Africa, we had stuff in the Middle East, continuous, and as it is today, Afghanistan. You know, it still rolls on, Syria, all this sort of stuff. I was fortunate as a soldier to be involved in all that, all the way through the Balkans, you know, Kosovo, onwards, Macedonia, and also up to Iraq, Afghanistan. So I was involved in all that. So during that time, I did everything from hostage release to people indicted for war crimes, which was probably the best stuff we ever did. You know, capturing people who fucking tortured innocent people, all that sort of stuff. Yeah, and I was fortunate to do all that, not just do it, but actually to lead on most of it in the latter part of my career. So it was amazing. So I did everything, and more than once. You know, combat, trench warfare, the whole thing. And those are the tests that for a soldier, I want to know if I could do it. Could I do it? You know, and like I said, I was fortunate enough to be able to do that. And I always, I want the next mission, I want the next mission. Then you get to a stage in your career, you know, where you've got to step back a bit. We ain't as young as we used to be, you know. Leave the swinging through windows, jumping through doors and doing all that sort to the younger. You take a sort of back step of more of the planning side of it and the sweeping up at the end of it. So you go through that, and then I think towards the end, you step away from what we call the Sabre squadrons, which do all the tier 1 work, and then we do a supporting role. So as a sergeant major, then I made WO1, which is like an RSM status, but it's not the RSM. And I was sent out to the jungle school in Brunei, which I loved the jungle, so I went out to Brunei and I ran the jungle school for the international sort of training of jungle warfare and tracking. So you're kind of taking a back step, but still a very important step because you're training people at that level, but you're not really on the operational side of it. Operationally, you probably get a call to, hey, how do you think about this? Can you give us an hand on that? So you'll always have a little bit of input where you could. And then after that, you know, I decided that was, you know, I always say, well, by then it was 27 years, and I thought, I'm pretty ready to leave now. You know, I can't go back to what I really want to do, and it's probably a good idea not to. It's time to look at something else and think about where I go next. And I did, although I stayed on as a reserve up until 2015, in fact, you know, so although I didn't do anything, I went into camp and did the gym, used the gym, meet people for coffee, have a beer, and that was it. You know, a few little exercise stuff, but yeah.
So then you come out and do you go straight into private security?
Yeah, I did. So basically what happened was, towards the latter end, I was kind of doing a bit of moonlighting, trying to find my feet, what can I do next? And a good friend of mine was running a security company that predominantly looked after A-list celebrities. And he just says, hey, would you be interested in helping me out on a few little jobs? I says, let me have a look at it. And I think the first one was Tom Cruise. And, you know, I says, yeah, let me see this. And I was actually moonlighting, you know, I had a long weekend off, and I thought, he says, yeah, he's coming into Rome, could you go and take it? No problem. So I did, I jumped on a plane, went over to Rome, met Tom, chatted with him, and it's like I knew him forever. I told him what I wanted to do in terms of security, he told me what he wanted to do, and we had a mutual agreement. He had respect for me for all what I wanted to do, or should have done, there to be paid for, and I knew what he wanted, and it was my job to facilitate that as long as security prevailed. So it was great, it was just a great starting point, and I kind of liked it, I enjoyed it. And what I found was the skill sets that I'd had 20 odd years plus with the military, I just had to relate that to civilian street, you know, and what that really meant was back off a bit. It's not aggressive. The only thing shooting at me now is a camera, not a gun. So back off, calm down, and that was a little bit weird. The other weird bit of it was cameras. You know, we'd spent all my life, which is weird, you know, in the military, you train to get into the SAS. Then when you get into the SAS, you spend the rest of your life denying it. Then all of a sudden you step out of it and you're like, what do I do now? And I was meeting people around the world who supposedly been in the SAS, and none of them had, and I was thinking, hang on a minute, how does this work? So that transition was really awkward, and also a camera being pointed at me, and you can't get away from it. So I found that really difficult, and it took a long while to change from that.
I bet. I mean, surreal world, stepping into that. Is there any? I know it's might be private, but is there any like weird stories or anything that's happened while she was with him?
I think we had fun, weird stories with all of it in that celebrity world. You know, the first time I met Penelope Cruz, and I talk about it, you know, I didn't know who she was. I had no idea. I met Tom, and he didn't tell me he was meeting his girlfriend Penelope, and we're about to walk into an hotel, and this person came running at me, so I grabbed her around the neck, and we fall into the foyer basically. And then we end up in the lift, and he goes, "Billy, meet my fiance, and not my fiance, well, his girlfriend. Meet my girlfriend Penelope." And I went, "Thanks for telling me." Now she's really pissed off at me because her hair's a mess, and I've just headlocked her. Yeah, so I mean, we had all that sort of story, you know, funny stories and stuff, and
wow. So and now great friends of yours. A lot of them.
Yeah, I mean, like I say, we had a great mutual respect, and what I really loved about all of it, I never had anybody give me really an hard time. If I said, look, security, I wouldn't just say for the sake, if it was a security threat for whatever reason, and mainly it was because we were overpowered by overzealous fans, and that can turn dangerous pretty quick. You know, you can get trampled to death, and I knew I couldn't have control of it, and if you haven't got control of it, you're not doing your job. So I felt there was a situation, I'd say, you know, I'd just be very clear and go, we can't do this. And you want to do it, I'm telling you this is a risk, and I cannot afford, I won't be able to do what I'm supposed to. And every single one went, okay, I hear you. So it was great. And I think they really believed in me. But I think one of the key things, and thing I always remember, is everybody I met would go, "You're the security?" I went, "Yeah." Because I ain't like the biggest bloke in the world. And they go, "Oh, okay." But as soon as you start talking with confidence, they're like, "Wow." Because that's what it's about, confidence and you know, having experience. And there's no substitute for that. You can bullshit as much as you like, and everybody can see through it. And as soon as you say, "Bam, bam, I've done this, I've done that, this is the threats, this is what we need to do," they're like, "Wow, you know what you're doing." Don't get me wrong, I can roll around the floor with the biggest, not a problem. But if I'm rolling around the floor with somebody, it means I'm not doing my job. You know, why don't I just do the smart thing? Old bull, young bull. How about I step back and bring in the meathead, let the meathead roll around the floor with them, and we'll go around this way. So it's all about that, you know, and everyone I met, I sort of said my piece, how we do things and why we do things, and they went, "Yeah, I get that." And it worked.
Love it. So a lot of people will know you from SAS Who Dares Wins. You see a lot of people come through there. I'm wondering how much of it is a mental thing for a physical thing. You see the guy who comes on who's all jacked up, beefed up and everything. Yeah, I mean, what do you think when you see those guys coming, first of all?
Man, I can read people like a book, because I was fortunate enough to be a DS with the parachute regiment, an instructor. So I started to learn early. What are we looking for? What are these people about? And you can read people, you know, the big muscle head, blah, blah, blah. It's all image. As soon as you put him out of his comfort zone, doesn't want to know. He'll find an excuse, look for an argument, and blame somebody else, rather than go, "I'm too big, I can't do it. This is harder than I thought." You'll never get that, but that's the truth. So I knew what to look for, and then with the SAS, even more so. Because that's what the SAS is. It's not about image, it's not about any of that. It's about, who are you? What can you do? We don't care what you look like, you know, but can you do this? Are you willing to go a little bit further? Have you, got self-motivation, which is the biggest thing. So I knew what to look for. So now on the program, that's what I'm looking at. I don't care if you're fat, thin, male, female, religious, it doesn't matter. It doesn't care. Your 100% is what we're after. Now your 100% for a fit guy is going to be different to the small fat guy. But you probably don't have to give 100% to win that race. So to me, I'm not interested. I'm more interested in that guy there who's really struggling, but he's the guy I'm really interested in. He's the one who's mentally pushing himself, because it is. I would say 70% mental, 30% fitness. Yeah, because the fitness only lasts a period of time, and we can all do X amount of press-ups, can all do X amount, but are you doing more than you really thought you could? Because you can. And he is, but the big guy isn't. He's making it look easy and thinks, that's it, I'm great. But actually you're not great. You should be doing double that.
Because we can all get fit as well. Like that fat guy can eventually get fit, and if he can squeeze 100% out of being fit, he's going to destroy the fit guy at 60%.
It's funny how we all think it's fitness. It's not fitness, it's that. It's, he's sleep deprived, he's hungry, or she, but you know what? Still gets up, still got a nice manner, still willing to help somebody else, and still willing to try and do better themselves. That's what it's about. And that's why when people go, well, it's called SAS Who Dares Wins. Well, it's nothing to do with the SAS. Well, the part that is about the SAS is that. It's about the person. course we don't go running over the hill with a fucking log and stuff. That represents carrying a weapon. We can't do that. But what we're looking at, the things that are similar to the actual relay, is the person. What are we looking for? The honesty, integrity, you know, the willing to go a little bit further, the pursuit of excellence. That's what we're looking for. And that's the comparison between the real regiment, SAS, and the program. Not, you know, people go, yeah, but she can't run or he can't run. Listen, this ain't fucking Mud Runner. This ain't, you know, Spartan Challenge. Because if it was, we'd have all super gym queens. It's about people. And that's what I love about the show. It's not about four, you know, special forces operators or whatever you want to call us. It's about the people. We're just there to add authenticity. The only, again, the unrealism again of the show is we shout and scream, and you don't do that on SAS Selection. There's no shouting and screaming at all. You're asked to do something, because that's what we want, self-motivation. We shouldn't have to kick you up in the ass, because you know what, when you're beyond the enemy lines, you're on your own. No one else is picking you up, it's down to you. And that's what we're looking for prior to joining the regiment, that you can get off your ass and go forward and move.
I love that.
You know, but the show, we have to do that, because entertainment of me asking you to do it and you say no, it's not great entertainment, is it? So in order for us to add the 6 months of what we go through into 4 hours, is I'll scream and shout to you. I will motivate you. You know, because most people have never been told the truth. No, most people don't get shouted at. But you know what? We fucking do shout at you. And there's a reason behind it.
We're talking about self-motivation.
Yeah.
This morning, we go out, and you know, like, you've not got a gym, you've not got a treadmill, you've not got the warm coziness of all that kind of stuff. What is there an element of what you do in your workouts that you do yourself that's to draw that self-motivation out?
Yeah, it's the will to want to do it. Why am I doing it? Because I can do it. Because there'll come a time in my life I won't be able to do it, so I'm going to do it. Do I like it? No. Is it painful? Yes. As soon as I accept that, I'll go ahead and do it. And I don't need a gym. I don't need to walk around and look at myself in the mirror and look at, that's what a gym's about. I'm not saying all gyms are like that, but a lot are. Everything I need to do, I can do here with my body, and I will. It's whether you want to do it. It's easy to talk about it and not do it. I'll do it tomorrow. Yeah, I can do it. Well, stop talking about it. Do it. That's the thing. Just fucking do it.
Yeah, so...
And I do that every morning, mate. I ask my wife. She sometimes has to kick me out of bed.
I mean, you were straight into that water, so yeah. Yeah.
Just get on and do it. You know what? I ain't going to die. It's for my benefit. And you feel the benefit once you've done it. As soon as you accept yourself, all right, get into the water. It's going to be cold. So what? I ain't going to be in forever. I'm going to be in and I'm going to be out of it. But I get something out of it. Same as the fitness. The fitness is a passage in time. It's hard. I'm breathing out my ass. It's fucking hell, this is tough. But you know what? I'm doing it. And I'll do it till I can't do it. All right, I've done enough. And then your mind says, well, great. I've now earned that cup of coffee I'm going to have later, that sandwich, that chance to sit down and be a bit lazy, because I've done my bit. My body's ready, my mind is ready. And it's all about your mind. That mindset, clear your mind in the morning, I've done something, you're ready. You're ready to challenge the day, whatever that might be. And it's paramount, and everybody should be out doing something. And people go, well, it's all right for you, I'm this, I'm that. Listen, if your fitness means walking 4 times into the kitchen and back because you haven't done it before, that's something. So your mind goes, you know what, didn't do that before, now I can do it. For me, I can run a bit further. Somebody else can way outrun me, way carry more, or push more weights, or whatever you want, whatever it is. But do it, and that physical exercise and that mentality, balance in your head goes, wow, now I'm ready. I've achieved something. Here we go.
Doing something, so what about talking about something?
Talk's cheap, innit? You know, I should have. Listen, I should have been the world fucking champion boxer. The reason I wasn't was because I wasn't good enough. But I can talk about it. Listen, if you want to be something, go out and do it, or try and do it at least. And even if and I always say this, you're setting a goal of being a world champion boxer. I'm going for it. No way am I going to meet it. But you know what? I won a Staffordshire title, and I won that title. Did a lot better than I thought I would do, because I went for it. So don't talk about it. Do it.
Another one I'd just like you to talk on, because you're good at talking through and you've got away with words, is excuses and people making excuses.
Listen, you get a million excuses. I don't want a million excuses, I want one result. Keep your fucking excuses to yourself and just produce the results, because Excuses don't make results. And I see it all the time. I always see with the big guys who are struggling. All of a sudden, oh, my trousers are too tight. My boots are not Nike. You're like, shut the fuck up. Stop blaming. Stop blaming. That's the problem with excuses. People, and they don't blame themselves. They don't go, this is too hard for me, which is the truth. They blame their kit, somebody else, you because you're shouting at them. Nonsense. Stop the excuses. Okay, results are what matter. And that result is not the fact that you've now broke a world record. The fact is you've gone a little bit, you've stepped over the start line. There's the result. That's the result. And that's all I'm talking about. And we can all do that.
It's something else that you said whilst was running, and you've explained like your kind of mentality almost for life is always a little further.
Yeah. That mantra, like I say, it's spooky in a way. The old man, basically I stole his hat, I was 9 years old, and he took me into a little dark room and I thought, oh shit. And he said, that's when he sat me down and he said, look, he goes, you're a little shit, you're a bad little shit, but there's something about you. And he started talking to me and he explained what boxing was. As I said earlier, boxing is not a game of brutality. Boxing is a poor man's game of chess. It's about looking at the person in front of you or whatever's in front of you, anticipating the next move, being one step ahead of it. You win a boxing match with your feet and your brain, not with your hands. Your hands just put the final touches to it. Your feet will get you in trouble, will get you out of trouble, and your mind. So it's staying focused, reading, anticipating, and being one step ahead. And he said it's about going always a little further. It won't be easy. It will be hard. You can hardly breathe. Your legs are heavy. Your arms are heavy. But you can. As long as you say so. I'm going to keep my arms up. I'm going to step forward. I'm going to throw another punch. Bang. You've already gone a step further. Always a little further. And then when I joined the regiment years later, it's on our clock tower. It's part of the saying, you know, over that blue mountain, over that angry sea. Always a little further. And I've always kept that in my head. And it's helped me through life. I can go a little bit further. And I'll always go a little bit further. As I get older, you know, maybe that little bit further is just getting off the couch and making a cup of tea. But I'll get up and do it. I won't just sit there and go, well, I can't have a cup of tea because I'm tired. I'll get up and do it. So, yeah.
How much do you think people are leaving in their tanks?
In where? How?
In life in general. I mean, a lot. You know,
50%.
A lot of people trying, yeah.
50%. Because you know what it is. And there's an old saying: get comfortable with being uncomfortable. I wouldn't agree with that. I fucking hate being uncomfortable. But in order to get achievements, it generally means being uncomfortable. And you've got that energy in your tank and that drive to do it. Just use it. Break through it. It doesn't matter. Like getting in that water this morning, I ain't gonna, it's cold. I know it's cold, but fuck it, I'm gonna get in it. Because I can. I can, and I also have a choice. I can or I can't. Like I said, there ain't no can't. I can, so I'm gonna do it. And everybody's got the saying, no matter what it is. You've got it in there. You have got it in you. Everybody has. There's no excuses. Whether you've got a disease, whether you've got a problem, whether you've got a mental problem, you have. You've just got to go through it. The problem with, you know, the mental problem as well is that it's real. Of course it's real. But you've got to make the first move. Because no one else knows what's inside your head. No one. You have got to say to yourself, I cannot sit in this pity party. You can sit in there and go, blame somebody else is going to drag me forward and do it. People will try, but you still have to make that fucking move. You still have to go forward and go, I want to get through this now, I'm going to go. So everybody, that's what you got to go. You got to say, this is not comfortable. I've got to get through it, and it's a passage in time. It's like anything, you know, we've all been through that roller coaster of, oh, I've got a load of money now, now I've got nothing. Now I've got a bit of money, now I've got nothing. Now I'm feeling fit, now I ain't fit. Now I'm in a great relationship, now everybody hates me. It's a passage in time. It'll keep coming and keep going. But you've got to make the first move. Get out the pity party, because the only one in the pity party is you, and go forward. Take that fucking bite and go, fuck it. And it ain't going to be easy. And it's going to be painful, but it's going to be worth it.
I think one of the things well, you've been in charge of a lot of people. You've been leaders of a lot of people. You've seen a lot of people's journeys on the show as well. And you know, is there a sadness to you to see people's potential like wasted away? Does it bother you?
It really does bother me. It fucking bothers me a lot. And I'll give you a good example was, I think the Celebrity one 2 seasons ago, there was a young influencer. I didn't even know what an influencer was. I don't know the guy, but he's a nice young lad. But you know, everybody goes, yeah, the youth of today, of this, of that, the woke, the weak. I guess every generation says something similar. You know, so this young kid, especially now, everybody's talking about how the younger generation don't respect and they won't. He's a young lad. He had a lot in his tank. He had a lot of potential. But all he could think about was, it's easy to sit on a computer and make a lot of money. I can't be asked to push myself. I can't be asked mentality. And that fucking really wound me up. Because he's still a good kid. He could have really put the younger generation on the map by showing, hey, but then in fact, and I'll give you a better example, or a better example in one way, that guy could have done that. He chose not to. I'm going back to Malay, and that's a shame. That is a fucking waste. On the next show, we got an 18-year-old girl who fucking really smashed her out the park. Everything. Biggest men, smallest men, fastest women. She smashed it. Why? Because in there, she was like, I'm going to do it. I can do it. And I don't care. I'm wet, I'm cold, I'm hungry, I'm deprived of sleep. She did it because she can do it. And he could have done it. We can all do it. And she laid a great example.
Yeah, and I think, one of the things we talk about a lot at Mulliganbrothers is inspiring change, and it literally can be, you don't have to be some really famous person to do it. It's just by the way you lead your day, lead your actions and step forward each day. Yeah. And I think wasted potential is just a terrible example for the people, who come after us. Is there an importance of leading in a certain way to make sure you are the example for other people?
I think, the tapestry of life is very similar. We all go through being a little bit naughty, being a little bit rogue, what's important. I think there's a certain time in your life where you realise what is important. And, I remember reaching that a long way back, just looking around me and thinking, it's not about materials, it's not about money, it's not about status, it's about actually look around us. Everything around us is for us. And most of what is really enjoyable out there is free. It's for everybody. It's just realising that, and also realising, and I hate saying this, but it's very true, there is always somebody worse off than you. No matter what even from the poorest to the poorest, there's still somebody worse. And realising that, and I think we're all in a position, especially as we're very privileged and I'm grateful for where I am, we should all give back. Every single day we should be giving back. No, I'm not talking, that has to be finance, knowledge, experience. We've lost that role model world now. I remember again, I gravitated towards old people because I kind of knew he's already been through divorce, through finance, through the relations, through fitness, through this. He's been round probably twice. So he can go to you, listen son, forget all this, forget doing this, forget doing that, do this. Don't reinvent the wheel. And we kind of go, yeah, I get that. But we're still almost like, oh, don't touch that because that's hot. And we all go, oh yeah, that is hot. We still fucking play with it, but at least I learn from that. So it's about, we should all be in that position now to give back whatever it is to the younger generation, to the older, whoever. Pass on that experience to people and go, look, fucking give that back, or give your time. Like we do a lot of stuff with our charity in Haiti, giving kids a chance off the street. Those kids on the street have got nothing, and they're little rogues to everybody else, but they're not. They've just not got no role models. We've lost it. We're too scared. Sorry, now I went off a little bit on a tangent there. So, I'd go and speak with old people. You can't do that today because everybody's petrified because of the nonsense that we put out there. Somebody kicks a ball to me in the park now, a kid, the first thing I do is, where's your parents? It's fucking crazy. And we're in a safer world now than we've ever been. We've got phones, we've got light everywhere, there's more people about, there's cameras everywhere. But we scaremonger our own kids and everybody into, everybody's a weirdo, and we're losing that. We're losing that male role model thing, and we shouldn't. And we're too scared to tell anybody the truth. That's the biggest thing in the world today as well. We're scared to tell the truth because we're going to upset somebody. Well, you know what? Life's about being upset. Life's about failing. But life's about getting back up again and moving fucking forward. You need to be told sometimes because we all become cocooned in our little world and we don't see what everybody else sees around us. So it's good to be told. But we're too scared to say it. Oh no, we're going to upset. Fucking I'll tell it. I say it.
Yeah, I want to. So just on that, like hearing the truth, I don't think this generation does hear.
Well, I think that's what I think I like about the show is we'll tell the truth. There's no rehearsals on the show, by the way. There's no script. I don't know what's sat in front of me. I don't know nothing about the person sat in front of me. Those mirror rooms, that's where we really do. And I don't know which way to go with it, whether it's a tragedy story, whether he's a big drug, thinks he's a... And at that moment, I'll make my mind up and I'll fucking tell... But I'll say what I really believe. And it's kind of old-fashioned in many ways, but I stand by it. I grew up on those values, and It kept me, to get me where I am now, it kept me alive. And we're just too scared to say it. Some people, most of the people. But I'll fucking say it, and people do say it on the show, we do say it. And we're not saying that for the camera, I'm saying it because I mean it. If I'm saying it, I mean it. You know, if I'm trying to give advice, and whether it's aggressive advice, because you need a kick up the ass, because you need to be told you're a prat, or you're a fucking idiot, I'll tell you. Or I'll think, okay, you've done well, great, you've done well, but you can do better. And we can all do better. And I'll say it, you know, it's not about pat each other on the back and we're great. There's always improvement. And yeah, I think we've lost that. We've certainly lost it in schools. We've lost it in universities. We've lost it on the streets. No one's got respect for police. The police are trying to do the job, and you've got 50 fucking people putting cameras in the face. Have a bit of respect, and you know, we've lost it.
Yeah, no, definitely.
And it's sad.
Yeah, it is. And I think it also leads to oversensitivity that makes it really difficult for people to progress in life because they're so sensitive to life.
We put more emphasis on people being weak or oversensitive than we do on reality. What is really important?
Life's tough.
Of course it's tough. Yeah. You know, we stop challenges in schools. Well, life's a challenge. When you go for a job, you ain't going to get it because you think you're going to get it. You're going to get it because you're good at the job. You're going to be good at the job. Or you're not going to be good at it, and you're going to get knocked back. Be prepared to not. And we're setting people up for failure by pretending it's all a cozy, nice, we're all in this mamby-pamby, because we ain't. And that's setting people up for a big kick in the face. And that's where we are. And that's why we've got all these oversensitive craziness that's going on.
One thing I want to circle back to is your dad. And I feel like in hindsight, he was a role model to yourself. Is that right?
He was my number one role model. You know, I hope I haven't painted the wrong picture. My dad was just, he was a man's man. He was by the book. He was the ring of steel around our family. And I didn't realise it until you get older. You know, why wasn't Dad at my boxing match? Why? But my mum was, because he was at work. I couldn't understand that at the time. I thought he just ain't interested. But he was, and he wasn't one of these that would blow smoke up your ass. Hey, my son's great. He'd tell you that you do the right thing, you know, and that's the way he was. He was just very old, very strict in his ways, and if you stepped out of line, you got the red hand of ulcer on the back of your legs, you know, that's the way, and I like that, and it was good. And it wasn't until after he died, you know, I found out he actually knew a lot more about me, because I didn't go on and talk about, oh, I'm in the SAS and I've done this, I've done that, you know, but he knew from the papers, he knew where I was in the world, roughly did it, and could put things, and he had all paper clippings and all this, and we never talked about it. Like, it's kind of a regret that I didn't go and have a beer with him and talk more about it, but he wasn't one of those people. You know, he's very proud of it, but he doesn't have to show it. He doesn't have to keep talking about it.
The story of discovering that is quite a sad story.
Yeah.
It was after he passed, and you were doing his eulogy, right?
Yeah, and you know, it was a box of just newspaper cuttings and just this, that, the other, and little medals and whatever else, like, you know. Yeah, because he was funny, but you know, I'd go home and I'd sit in a pub with him and his mates would ask all about, hey, where are you now? What's this? My dad never even asked. I questioned, does he even know I'm in the SAS? Does he even know what I do? You know, because he just never asked. He just didn't talk about it. You know, and yeah, looking back, I wish we had of. But I understand his mentality and the way he was, and I was just so proud of him for who he was and the way he brought us up and that, you know. And
I mean, the story of his death just shows the kind of man he was in general, anyway. Yeah, I mean, the weird thing about that situation was, my mum had cancer. She had lung cancer, and we knew Mum was going to die. And she was old, tougher than a coffin nail anyway. And it almost became a joke. Me and Jules would come home, and I'd walk in the house. She'd be sat in the and I'd be, "You still alive?" And she'd just, you know. And Dad would just chuckle. I mean, Dad was a big old boy, like, and I could see he was getting old. He'd lost his leg. He took his leg off in the later part of his life, and that was through smoking, you know. And when I got the call in the middle of the night, I thought, oh no, Mum's dead. I was expecting it. And then when I heard Dad's dead, I was like, say that again? What? And that kicked me. You know, I wasn't ready for that. And then 4 weeks later, my mum died. So one after another, but you know, that was tough. And I think that again, that goes to life is tough again.
Yeah, it is tough.
You know, if you're not prepared for If we're babied and not prepared for that, like that could be so debilitating. Yeah,
that's double tough. That's gonna really, you know, damage you unless you're prepared for that. You know, it's weird because we all know no one's getting out of this life alive. We're all going to die at some stage, but when it really happens, The reality kicks in. That's hard. I think that's the hardest, closest to PTSD if I've ever had anything. It was that.
So those moments, that moment after both your parents passed in such a short time, like how did you deal with that situation? If someone's going through something similar right now.
Listen, it's happened. You can't change it. You've just got to accept it, and you've got to look back on that's it, and just enjoy what was good, and and some of what was bad. Learn from what was bad. Me and my dad had some terrible arguments towards the end, but like I've always said, I'd walk 50 miles over broken glass to have one more argument with him. I can't. It's gone. Let it go. It's hard, and you'll always have your moments. A certain song will come on and you go, oh, I remember Dad, or a certain saying. So you'll always have flashbacks. But I don't have to relive it every day. And they wouldn't want you to do that. You've just got to let it go. It's happened. You've got to move forward. You've got to take care of yourself. You've got to take care of what's important to you now and move forward. Because this is a passage in time. And I know it's an old cliche, life's not a rehearsal. It isn't. It is not. I think I'm particularly at this stage now, every other day I hear about another ex-soldier that's either committed suicide or died, and you think, you just don't know what's around the corner. So you've got to enjoy it, and not live your life like it's the last day on earth, but enjoy it. It's easy to be miserable. You have a choice. You can be upset and miserable, or you can be happy and push forward. It's a choice, and you have it. Choose, go forward. Just because we haven't got any money to go for a drink, or just because you're not feeling very well, but you're still here. You've still got something to enjoy and go forward. So, yeah, just keep pushing forward. That's, again, it's easy to fall into that sadness and pity party. It's not going to help. It doesn't help you. It doesn't help people around you. You can be sad, of course, and I'm not saying get up and go, hey, Dad's dead, let's go. I'm not saying that. I'm saying you've got to drive forward. You've got to get up. You've got to motivate yourself. A little bit slower than normal to get back to something, but move forward. Move forward. Get on with it. It's happened. You ain't going to change it. The past is never going to... You learn from the past. What you can do is shape your future from what's happened. Dad had a great life. I want a greater life. Valuable life lessons is don't be afraid to go for something. Even if you think that's out of my league, actually you don't know until you try, but by doing it opens up new avenues. Anyway, so the big one is don't be afraid to go for something. Don't let everybody else tell you you can't. The only person who knows if you can or you can't is yourself. And you might not be able to, but have the courage and conviction and the balls to go for it anyway. Because it opens up a new style, new life for you, a new, generally a better place to be. So that's probably the main one. The other one is remember who you are and how privileged we are, and fucking help other people. Care for people. Do something decent. Don't be... there's a lot of people in the world who are all about self-gain and self-this. Stop being selfish. There's people who need help in the world. Fucking help somebody. Whether that's knowledge, experience, finance, go out and do something. Do it. Because it's a good feeling. It's better than any wage packet.
100%. And I just wanted to add on that as well is when you are doing something for others, and you don't do it for this reason, but the reward is so much better, so much stronger. You
see a smile on a little kid's face who's had nothing, that's priceless. Or an old lady who just says, thank you, because you've just helped to carry the whatever it is, or helping somebody get a wheelchair, or help somebody, whatever. It's better than winning the lottery. And I don't want a pat on the back for that. I don't want people to go, oh, well, Billy did that. All I need to know in my own heart, I've done something good today. Or I'm doing something good, I'm helping somebody else.
Right, this conversation has been absolutely fascinating. There's a book, your autobiography, that will have a lot more in-depth stories, I'm guessing.
Yeah, it is, and I'll be, anybody who wants to get it, it's my life journey, and I'm not a person of quotes and statistics, but in there you will find something that will help everybody. Something, I can relate to that. Oh, how did you do that? There is no easy way to anything of stepping out of a problem. There's a way out of it, and I'll give you my way, and you can go, wow, that will work for me. But the reason I wrote the book was, like, as my wife mentioned earlier, we'd be sat there having a drink and people talk about stuff that in my life, and she'd go, I don't know anything about that. And she's my wife. And so I thought, you know what? I'm going to put this down. I'm putting it down so people, family who, want to really know, there it is, it's there. And that's what it is. It's lessons learned through trials and tribulations. And, I ain't proud of some of the stuff that I did, but it's worth saying. So kids don't follow the same journey that I did. I'd like them to follow the journey in terms of where I started and finishing where I finished, for sure, but not going off the rails. Learn before you get there. Don't reinvent the wheel. Getting stabbed ain't a fucking good thing. I was lucky, very lucky. You might not be lucky. Getting into a fight when you don't need to, don't. You know, stealing, whatever it might be, or through that, you know, don't. There's a way around everything, and there is always an option in everything you're going through. Every dark moment you're in, when you think everything's, it's not. There's a way out. There is a way out. There's an option. And just accept this. It ain't gonna be easy. It's never gonna be easy. As soon as you accept that, you'll go for it and you'll get out of it.
And autobiographies for me work really well, and I know novels for a lot of people work really well as well. You've done your first novels come out, right?
Yeah.
And your second novel is about to come out.
It's about, we're just finishing off now. So basically what we've done is, the autobiography is my life. It's not about the regiment stuff or military and all that. It does talk a bit about it, but not on the operational stuff. So I can't talk about any of that for many reasons, you know, security and personal reasons, which is fine. But now my novel is, I've created a character, Matt Mason. He's like a cross between James Bond, Jason Bourne, stroke, whatever, Jack Reacher. But it's really me. And it's my experiences of what I've done. I've just changed places, exaggerated a bit or whatever, you know. So it's not real, but it's kind of based on authenticity, things I have done, and, you know, everything from the way we speak, the way we do things, and the type of missions we get into, it's there. So this character goes through, and it's his time in the regiment, you know, on a failed mission where people get killed, and unfortunately it happens, to an hostage release type thing, to him leaving the military and going on to the next venture, and so forth. So yeah, it's and I've really enjoyed doing it because I've relived everything I've done, and it's just exciting.
Right, and everything that was spoken about today and all resources will be linked down below as well, so please go show support as well. Thank you so much, honestly. Like, this
Jordan,
has
it's been a pleasure, mate.
Really excited to put this together and show you guys as well. Thank you so much,
Look forward to it, mate. Cheers. Thank you.
That was amazing.